SMT Nation, we back. We got the business wire story here. We got a T-Mobile 5G network continues to lead the nation. That's the heading. There's a couple of nuanced details in here that are pretty interesting, though. The company Umlaut, which is T-Mobile's kind of go-to for their network bragging rights when it comes to promoting their 5G leadership and things of that nature. No doubt, T-Mobile has the most available 5G network when you consider pops covered, those types of metrics and things of that nature. But you know, 5G speeds, 5G coverage, 5G reliability, availability, all these things, are to be objectively, evaluated by you as a consumer in your market. But it's good to get kind of the national scope and how things like, the firms, the third parties that do the testing themselves, and then they kind of highlight the strengths and the weaknesses and kind of who's doing what in the networking space. So T-Mobile, again, the clear winner in Ookla's Q3 2022 analysis. But this particular highlighting here coming from Umlaut paints an interesting story. We're going to look at all these different tabs down here. I'll link this story and you guys can access this yourself if you want. So let's take a look first here at 5G network reliability. Again, this is just an overview, not too many details. Me and Moose are actually about to do a live stream on this. It probably already happened if you're watching this later. So if you missed that live stream, I'll link that in the description in terms of the podcast. And we go into more detail and some banter on this. All right. So when it comes to reliability, Q3 2022, the Umlaut audit report, Verizon got rated a 340, AT&T a 441, and then T-Mobile at a 485. That's pretty close between AT&T and T-Mobile. So a lot of people see T-Mobile as the 5G network and people see AT&T as the LTE network. Yet those scores are pretty close when it comes to reliability. Verizon way back in 5G reliability. And of course, they are known as the reliable carrier, which is ironic, I think, in this case. All right, let's go ahead and look at 5G coverage now. Here's the 5G network performance Q3 22 for coverage. All right, this is a 100% rating as your max score. Verizon last at 61.5, AT&T at 91.3, and T-Mobile at 93.1. Those two metrics for coverage are very, very close. No doubt this is mostly for T-Mobile in the case of, band 71, their low band 5G, and no doubt for AT&T it's their band 5. All right, so these are low bands. That's how you get 91% coverage in just a couple of years. When it comes to mid band, the faster version of 5G, it takes much more time. These numbers are probably going to be half or less. All right, just because of sheer range, and it just takes time to build out midband, several years. All right, Verizon way back at 61.5%, and that's because in a lot of places they don't have band 5, and they have not done band 13 for 5G. If that was a thing, trust me, they'd be in the 90s too. Right. All right, let's move on to 5G speeds. All right, so this again, we're seeing a trend here. Verizon in terms of downloads, 62.4%, AT&T at 66.4%, and then T-Mobile at 74.6%. So Verizon and AT&T are pretty close. T-Mobile able to distinguish themselves there. And they're actually able to do a pretty nice job here with the uplink as well, rated at 78.7%, Verizon at 66%, and AT&T at 53%. I will tell you that in my experience, I too have a lesser observation when it comes to uplink for AT&T. So no surprises there, as that's typically what I'm seeing too. All right, 5G availability. All right, you got T-Mobile at 69.2%, AT&T at 60% almost, and then Verizon at 32%. All right, huge distinction there. But again, the gap between AT&T and T-Mobile is very, very close. That gap is really starting to close, folks. All right, in terms of 5G performance relative to the Ookla speed test, you have T-Mobile at 193 megabits per second, Verizon at 119, and then AT&T at 81. So the T-Mobile's way out in front when it comes to Ookla speed test data. Verizon pretty far back, and then AT&T a very distant one. You're going to have to build a solid mid-band grid. You got to intensify the mid-band upgrades in order to get this number up. So that's why T-Mobile's been able to get out ahead. They've had 2 years, essentially a 2-year 5G stimulus package with the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. It's allowed them to get ahead, and they're going to try to stay ahead. Okay. And last this year, fastest provider. It's just T-Mobile. All right. It's all T-Mobile there. All right. This clearly an indication of their 5G UC, their N41, their mid-band build. Wherever they have it, they're going to be the fastest carrier because they got the most spectrum on air and the most tower sites with N41. What we're probably going to start seeing starting next year is you're going to start to see some of those numbers, those gaps closing. We're already starting to see it with AT&T, with Verizon and AT&T densifying C-band. You'll start to see some states, I think probably by, I don't know, I'd say probably either mid-year next year, the latest Q4 of next year. Some of these states are going to go red. Some of these states are going to go blue. No pun intended. But you get what I'm saying. It's going to be a situation where it's just you densify mid-band upgrades. You get 80 megahertz of C-band on air for T-Mobile, for AT&T, 100 plus for Verizon. Their speeds are going to pick up, and they both own and operate their own fiber network, which is something T-Mobile can't say. So that's going to probably impact them as well. But for now, T-Mobile's lead is safe, but the gap is closing, folks, and it's going to close even faster moving into 2023. What do you guys think of this? How close are Verizon and AT&T to T-Mobile? How far ahead is T-Mobile? Give me your estimates when you think this is going to change, or if you don't think it's going to change and you think T-Mobile will continue to lead over the next several years. Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links in the description for my Patreon, my Twitter, my Gmail address for all business inquiries, and then hit the join button and become a member of the SMT Nation here on YouTube. Get exclusive access and add-ons and perks and benefits not found anywhere else. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.